People don't have ideas. Ideas have people. Carl Jung. Have you ever felt that your way of thinking doesn't quite match what the world expects of you? Perhaps you've been told to be more logical when you naturally rely on emotion. Or perhaps you've been called too sensitive when you see meaning where others see nothing. Jung thought that everyone falls into one of 4 basic personality types. Thinkers are the logical brains that follow cold logic and structure, while feelers are the emotional souls that are motivated by relationships, values, and meaning senses. Realists based on empirical evidence and immediate reality intuitives, the visionaries are constantly looking for undiscovered connections and potential futures. You may believe that you already know which type you are, but what if you've been living under the wrong one your entire life? When you were a child, your parents, teachers, and society encouraged you to think in certain ways while discouraging others. If you were very logical, you might have been told to be more in touch with your emotions. If you were emotional, you might have been told to stop being so sensitive. If you lived in your imagination, you might have been called a dreamer. And if you were too meticulous, you might have been labeled as too rigid. What if you never really had that expectation? Jung believed that most people never question the lens through which they see the world. They assume their perspective is the only perspective, but understanding your dominant function isn't just about self-awareness. It's about power, because the moment you understand your mind, you can finally take control of your life. But here's the part. No one tells you your dominant personality function isn't the only part of you that matters. Hidden beneath the surface in the depths of your unconscious lies something far more important, something that might explain why you've always felt that something was missing. Because knowing how you think is one thing, but understanding what you've been ignoring your whole life, that's where the real transformation begins. So let's begin. Which type are you? Because whether you realize it or not, it has already shaped everything about you. Before we dive deeper into the 4 core personality functions, there's something even more fundamental that defines how you interact with the world. Jung found that our mental energy is shaped by 2 main mindsets: introversion, that prioritizes introspection, and critical thought; extroversion, focused on social contact and outside stimulation. Most people mistakenly believe that being an extrovert entails being loud and gregarious, while being an introvert means being quiet and reserved. An extrovert might relish isolation, but derive their energy from involvement and contact with others, while an introvert can be extremely self-assured, but refuel by spending time alone thinking. According to Jung, there is no right or wrong way to experience reality. They are just different ways of seeing it. This is where things get interesting, though. The 4 main ways we perceive reality are the 4 personality functions, and your personality is not just about being extroverted or introverted. These 2 attitudes serve as a portal to something far deeper. Every individual has a dominant style of understanding the world, which Jung identified and divided into 4 different functions. Considering the role of analysis and reasoning, feelers concentrate on harmony in relationships and what seems ethically correct, whereas thinkers place a higher priority on structure, problem-solving, and the objective truth. Sensors of tangible reality use their 5 senses to trust instant experiences and tangible facts. The role of intuition in abstract meaning. Intuitives hunt for hidden patterns and opportunities by looking beyond the present. Everybody has a dominant function that shapes their perception of the world. But the question is whether you truly know which one is yours, or have you been trained to suppress it? If you've been living outside of your true function, your life may feel more exhausting than it should be, decisions may feel forced, and interactions may feel out of place. But once you find your dominant function, everything starts to make sense, and you start to understand why you think the way you do, why some things make you feel alive, and why others drain you. Until you bring the unconscious conscious, it will guide your life, and you will refer to it as fate. According to Jung, most people never truly comprehend their dominant function because society forces them to be someone they're not. Yet understanding how you interpret the environment can help you make decisions with greater clarity. Connections and individual development. Comment below. If you believe you are an intuitive, thinker, feeler, or sensor, what has influenced your worldview? If you want to learn more about Jung's theories and how they relate to daily life, think considering subscribing for further insights. Each of these thinking, emotion, sensation, and intuitional processes might appear in two different ways, either internally focused on introspection or outwards focused on extroversion, according to Jung's theory of personality. Due to introversion, there are 8 different personality types, each of which processes reality in a different way. Understanding them is more than just recognizing who you are. It also entails recognizing how these unconscious tendencies have shaped you. For instance, some people think extrovertedly and strive for efficiency, structure, and quantifiable outcomes. Their minds function like an engineer creating a perfect system, making sure that everything works according to logic and order, and they trust tried and true methods over their emotions. However, their desire for efficiency can cause them to dismiss emotions as distractions rather than important aspects of the human experience. Their strength lies in their ability to create systems that work, but their weakness is their failure to see the human cost of those systems. Others function through introverted thinking, where logic is internalized and thoroughly examined. They don't just apply rules, they deconstruct them, challenging every assumption until only the purest truth remains. Unlike their extroverted counterparts, they are more concerned with honing their internal framework of knowledge and are less concerned with organizing the outside world. They may spend hours lost in thought, perfecting their understanding of a concept before speaking a word about it. Even though this makes them excellent at solving complicated problems, it can also make them appear disengaged and unable to put their ideas into practice. Then there are leaders who are extroverted and whose top priorities are emotional balance and harmony. Their ability to read a room is almost instinctual. Sensing shifts in mood before anyone else even notices, they adapt effortlessly to social expectations, intuitively knowing what to say to make others feel seen and understood. But this deep empathy comes at a cost. They can lose themselves in the emotions of others, neglecting their own needs in their pursuit of keeping the peace. They thrive in roles where emotional intelligence is valued, but when forced into environments that demand cold logic, they may feel lost, as if stripped of their natural strengths. In contrast, introverted feeling types don't seek external validation. They navigate life guided by an internal moral compass, making decisions based on what feels deeply right rather than what is socially accepted. While an extroverted feeler adjusts to the world, an introverted feeler stands firm, refusing to betray their inner convictions. They create art movements and philosophies rooted in personal truth. But their depth of feeling can also isolate them, because if their values are too different from those around them, they may struggle to express themselves, feeling as though they exist in a world that doesn't understand them beyond thinking and feeling. Some people, known as realists, perceive the world mostly through extroverted sensations. The hands-on doers are those who are totally rooted in the here and now. They don't think about life. Instead, they live it, absorbing every hue, texture, taste, and sound in high definition. On the other end of the spectrum, they may pursue one thrill after another, never pausing to consider where they're going. They thrive in fast-paced environments where their ability to react instantly gives them an advantage. But this focus on the present can make long-term planning difficult. Because they focus on what is known, tried, and proven. Introverted feeling types interpret the world through their own memories and prior experiences. Then there are those who are driven by extroverted intuition and visionaries who live not in the present, but in possibility, where others see what is or what could be. They thrive on exploration, invention, and making new connections. They move from one concept to another with unrelenting curiosity, always searching for something just beyond the horizon. Their energy can be chaotic, leaving projects unfinished as new ideas pull them in different directions. Their minds function like a vast archive, recalling details that others overlook. They find comfort in tradition, structure, and cling to the past even as the world around them is moving forward. Last but not least, introverted intuition functions like a slow-burning fire that is incredibly strong and perceptive. Their struggle is learning to base their visions in reality. Each of these 8 types represents a different way of interacting with the world, but no one is purely one type. These people have sudden realizations that seem to come out of nowhere, but in reality, they have been subconsciously processing patterns for a long time. They don't just see the world as it is, they sense where it is going. Their insights can seem almost prophetic, as if they understand things before they happen. But because their thought process is so internal, they frequently struggle to explain how they arrived at their conclusions, leaving others in awe or perplexed. According to Jung, every one of us has a dominant function that we use the most, but we also have lower-level functions that function in the background. This is where things start to get interesting. Our least effective function, the secret to balance, is in the one we suppress. The question is not simply whatever type you are. Personality is more than one function, and many of our problems stem not from our dominant type, but rather from ignoring the aspects of ourselves that we have neglected. It is a hierarchy of thought processes that cooperate in a precarious equilibrium. Some functions play a major role in determining how you think and interact with the outside world, while others work in the background and subtly affect you. Then there is the function that you hardly notice, which is so deeply ingrained in your unconscious that if ignored, can become your greatest vulnerability. A thinker will always tend toward logic and structure, but a feeler will navigate life through emotions and values. According to Jung, each individual has a dominant function that they naturally rely on the most. It's like the major character of your psyche, the portion that feels the most. A sensor trusts what is tangible and present, while an intuitive is drawn to possibilities beyond the immediate. This dominant function develops early in life and acts as the core filter through which you experience the world, but no one operates with just one function. If your dominant function is the protagonist of your mind, then the auxiliary function is the supporting character, providing balance and depth. A person with dominant thinking, for example, may have feeling as their auxiliary function, helping them stay connected to emotions when logic alone isn't enough. Likewise, someone who leads with intuition might rely on sensation as their secondary function to stay grounded in reality, while the dominant function is always in control. The auxiliary plays a crucial role in making you a more adaptable and complete person. Then there's the tertiary function, a process that exists in the background, occasionally showing itself but never fully developed.